Hello everyone, it's Dawn here from Dawn's Inspirations. Just wanted to share another quick mini scrapbook album with you. This is a really quick album you can do in an afternoon, and I'm just using some 6x6 papers. This is from the Spring Feast First Editions paper pack, but you just need some 6x6 papers. You need 13 sheets of 6x6 in total, 2 sheets of 12x12 cardstock. I've got glue, ink pad to distress, just ink the edges, and this time I'm using 2 of these MDF mini book covers I had. I had some of these left from a project I was doing at a retreat, and I thought, what am I going to do with these other than make some more mini albums with the rings that go in the holes here? And then I thought, well, let's use them in a different way and make a mini album, but with the spine system, and not actually using the rings. So I'm going to show you how you can use these. If you haven't got any sort of MDF covers like this, you can just go ahead and get some thick chipboard or mount boards. The ones I'm using here today, these measure 6.5 by 6 3/4, so that gives you an idea of the measurement that I'm using here today. But as we make the book and go along, you'll see if that measurement suits you. But there again, you haven't got to use 6x6 papers. If you wanted to make this album using 8x8 papers and making 8x8 pages, you can do. But I'm just going to show you this one because it's a nice quick project you can do, and it's the sort of project you can do in an afternoon. So that's why I thought I'd share this one with you. So we'll go ahead and we're going to start by cutting the papers. Move these to the side. Right, first of all we need to cut these down, so I've got 6 6x6 squares. So I need my paper trimmer for this. So we need 6 6x6 squares. I'm going to keep this long piece because we're going to use in a minute to make the spine of our mini book. Right, so that's my 6x6 squares. Okay, so you've got all those ready. And then with this strip here, we're going to need 5 strips that measure 6 inches by 2 3/4 inches. So this measurement here should be 6 inches because I've obviously cut a 12x12, so just double check, yes. So I need 5 strips measuring 2 3/4. So that's 1. The colour I'm using here today, this is a Basil Basics collection, and I think it's called Spring Breeze off the top of my head. They've taken out not putting the names on the back of all the papers now. Right, there's 4 there, so I'm going to need another sheet of this paper because I'm going to need a 5th one. So you're actually going to need 3 sheets of the 12x12 cardstock, so I've made a mistake there. So I need to cut one of these 6 inches. I'm being a bit frugal, I'm going to do it this way around so I don't waste my cardstock. And that's 2 3/4. So I've got 5 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then for the spine we're going to need 1 piece that's going to measure 7 inches by 3 3/4 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and get that cut now. So I need bring my trimmer out. So I need 7 inches. And I need 3 3/4, and I'm not sure where this is on here. I wish they would put, this trimmer's got centimetres but not inches along the ruler piece in the middle, and I wish they would do that, because it would make life so much easier. But there we go. So then I've got a piece 7 by 3 3/4, and I'm going to put this to the side because this is going to be for the spine of our book when we've finished. Okay, so that's all the cutting we're going to do for the first part. So what I've done with these covers that I've got here, I've just edged round both sides and all the edges just with some normal acrylic paint. I've just used a cream colour acrylic paint, just because when we actually add the pages, let me show you, they're not going to come right to the centre because we're using a 6x6 pad. If you see, you're going to see edges on there, so by having some cream it just mounts the covers. So it just also saves you cutting up 12x12 cardstock to try and match it up. We can still use 6x6, which makes this a quick project. Okay, so that's what I've done with those. So if you've used mount board or thick chipboard, do the same just with some acrylic paint. If you haven't got any craft acrylic paint, just go ahead and use some household magnolia acrylic paint, works just as easily. Okay, so that's a project there. That's a quick tip on that one to do. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to need to score the 5 strips that we've got here. All need scoring. So I'll take my mat off my score pad here, and these need scoring at 1 1/4 inches and 1 1/2 inches, and that is on every single one. Let me move this over, if you can see it there, that's it. So 1 1/4 and 1 1/2, and I always tend to flip my cardstock and do both sides, because this also helps when you're folding it, you don't get a crack in your paper. So it's just another little tip there. If you just by doing it either side, it saves you getting cracks in your paper. I find even if I'm using some thick cardstock, the similar sort of thing, that's a similar sort of thing that I would do as well. It just tends to be a habit really with me now. I always tend to flip it and do both sides. So we need to do that on all of those. So 1 1/4 and 1 1/2. This is going to give a small spine to each of our pages. So once we've added our photos and embellishments, it means you've got a bit of a gap there for those. Okay, right, that's that. Those all done. Right, I'm going to bring my mat back in now, and then we can get these all just folded over. Okay. So just fold each one over, just so you get a nice burnished line, because this is going to go ahead to make the spine of our book once it's all assembled. Okay. Now I'm going to do the plain piece on the outside of my spine, so I've got that decorative bit on the middle. So I'm going to fold mine like that. Okay. Choice is yours. I mean, the cardstock you're using might be patterned on both sides. This basil that I'm using is plain on one side, and it's got like a texture to the other side of it. Just make sure when you've done them you just fold them up so those all got a nice box on those. I don't know what you call this hinge system really. It's just something that I've sort of come up with. I can't remember if I've seen it anywhere even, but it's just a way of using 6x6 paper pads really without, number one, cutting the sheets down, so that's what makes it quite a quick project to do. So that's why this project's quite quick for an afternoon project, quite quick to make gifts for teachers with Christmas coming up. You know, it's an ideal teacher's gift to make a little mini book that you could put pictures of your child with them, with things they've done over the school year, or leave blank for the teacher to use for her own personal photographs. So that's all 5 of those done. Not quite happy with that fold line on that one. I'm going to do that one again. It's because I'm doing it with you on camera, I'm getting a bit... That's it. That's it, I'm happy with that now. Okay, so that's all 5 of these now done. And now we've got the 6 squares. So what I'm going to do is we're going to start attaching these to here to make our book. Okay, now I'm going to use wet glue for this project, purely because I find it's quite nice with the wet glue. You've got wiggle room. You can use double-sided tape or a tape runner, your personal preference, but I'm going to use wet glue. So I'm using the Cal all-purpose glue here. What I've done is, if you can see, that's one side with my spine, and I've just folded that to there, because then by gluing on here I know this is going to then fit nice and flush. Okay, so that's going to go onto there just like that, and then when we put the paper over the top you won't see the join at all. Okay, so that's what we're going to go ahead and do now. So a bit of wet glue down here. I'm just doing this with you, so it's a sort of project that you can do with me if you're looking at this on a video now. So that's why I've called it a tutorial. Don't quite know what we're going to call this album yet. I'll come up with a name before the end of the video, ready for to put on the YouTube and also my website. So by having the wet glue, you see, you get that little bit of wiggle room that if you're not quite happy, and then you can just push that down. And the beauty of this wet glue as well is if it goes anywhere, it just rubs off. So now I'm going to put the second piece. I'm going to now bend this piece over, wet glue on here, and now we're going to put another piece on. Push that down to there like so. Make sure you've got all your pages square just at this time. Okay, so that's the first one. And then we join the back to back of this. Okay, so we're going to go back to back now. So glue on here. We're now going to attach that to that one. So we've gone paper, hinge, paper, now hinge. Open that out, just make sure that's got a nice purchase on there. And then we're going to do another paper, so I'm going to fold on there, wet glue again, another paper, push that down on there, open this out, to now do another hinge again. So I'll make sure the hinge is square. This one doesn't appear to be quite so square as I would like. So wet glue again. Oh, that slid. Make sure that's all butted up to that end. That side over. Glue again. Sorry about this being a little bit tedious, but because I plastered it as a tutorial, it's something I like to do along with you. But it, as I say, it is a quick album to put together and make, so you'll be able to see time wise how quickly it is to do. Another hinge again. Push that on there. Oh, slid again, a bit of my glue. Does slide a bit, this glue, but then once it starts to go off, which is very quickly, you then don't get any movement on it. That's all now starting to come together, as you can see. So there's the little hinges in between to give room to put embellishments. Okay, so another one again. I mean, you can make your book as many pages as you wish, so there again, that's personal preference. You know, if you've got a particular project in mind and you only want to have 3 pages, it's no problem at all. It's your personal choice. I'm just giving you the idea so then you can go away and make your own. So that's what this is all about really today. So some glue on this last one. Slide that up. As you get a few more hinges, it's harder to get it nice and flat, but it does happen, because as we open the book out, you'll see that the hinges do move with it as well. Slide that up there a bit. And wet glue on the last one here to put the last page on. Okay. Now I'm using 6x6 papers here. If you'd rather use 12x12 and cut them down for your pattern papers, do feel free to do so. I've been using 6x6 papers for a few projects lately because I'm finding, number one, the pattern on them is a bit smaller for doing mini books. So, and also they're quite versatile. You haven't got to cut them up, and that is the beauty of this album, is it's a quick album that you don't have to mess about with, and that's what I'm trying to show you today. Right, so there's the main emphasis of your book. So you can, I mean, this one's going to have, these are going to be attached to the front and back cover, so then we're going to have 4 separate pages, but as I say, it's entirely up to you how many pages you wish to put in your book. Okay, now what I think I'm going to now go ahead and do is to start gluing in some of the pattern paper before we attach the front and back cover, just purely at the moment so I can lay it quite flat to get that put in. Now what I've done here, I've got 10 sheets of pattern paper. I've gone through the book, so I've got some pages that match when they're opened out. Just show you here, this is a nice little collection for that, so I'll probably either put this one to come out like that from the centre or out like that on the sides. Might do it out like that on the sides actually on that one. And then there's another one here, I'm going to put that either side because I think that looks nicer as you open it up. And then I think this one I'm going to do top and bottom. and then I'll probably do this one top and bottom as well, so I might change those two top and bottom so we've not got them all together. So this is sort of a pink and green colourway, this one. So that's pinks, then we've got greens, and then we've got flesh, and then we've got pink, and then we've got green. So I might just swap those two around so they're a different pattern. So that's my 10 sheets of 6x6 paper, and then what I've done on all of these, I've just gone round and inked all the edges. So I did that before I started filming, just because you don't want to see me inking all edges. I've used the Weatherwood Distress Stain for this, purely because I thought the blue would give a bit of a contrast with the green. So, and I think it works quite nicely with the blue and the green. So I've gone ahead and inked all my edges. So now we can go ahead and stick all these down. Okay, let me just move that out of the way. There again, this is going to be quite a quick job because it's just a case of gluing the back. That's what I said, this album is very quick to do. Beauty of this Cal glue as well is you don't get bobbling. Now this is going to fit up flush with the pages, so you just take it right up to the spine that we've created. Okay. Now if you've got a piece like I've got there where it's slightly come over, don't worry because we can trim that off shortly, but just make sure it butts up to the spine. Okay, so that's the first one in. Same with this one. So again, button it right up to the spine. And that's that one. Right, we're going for the greens on this one. Sort of a nice spring green, really. So butt that up again. That sign, push that down. Now I'm keeping these pages quite flat because, as I say, this is what I'm calling a quick album in an afternoon, really. So by having the pages quite flat and it being taking 6x6 papers, you can quite easily put a 6x4 photo either horizontally or landscape on these pictures. So once I've decided what photos I want to put in, I'll then add embellishments after then, really. So as I say, it's a really quick way of making a gift, making a quick album to add pictures if you've been out for the day, or you want to, so you've had someone to stay and you've taken a few shots and you want to send a little album as a little gift to say thank you. You know, that's the beauty of this. It's just a really quick album that you can put together. Once again, you don't have to really use chipboard covers or MDF covers if you don't want to. You know, you could just go ahead and do it as I'm doing here with basil cardstock, because as you'll see, once we start getting it all together, it is quite a sturdy album. So coming to the last couple of pages now. So I can press this one down. That's another good idea of having the wet glue. It makes it really quick. You know, if you're using double-sided tape, I find with projects like this it does slow you down. You can always use Pritt stick, just ordinary Pritt stick that you can get from the supermarket or stationery store. You haven't got to use a wet glue like this. You can use PVA glue. You know, the choice is entirely up to you. It's your project. Let's put the last two pieces in here now. Push that down. As you can see, I'm not using a lot of glue at all. Right, so there's all the pages all stuck in, ready to go, ready to just add photographs really. So that shows how quick that is. We're now going to attach this to the main body of the book. So this now you need your covers for, and then what we're going to do is I'm just going to get a pencil and line it up just purely so I can get it central. Now I think if I remember, that was that's just over, so I'm just making a sort of a central line there. One, and then I'm just going to do 3 inches either side of there, so I know roughly where I want to put the pages, because at this stage it is quite nice that you have it all sort of central. So that will go there. I think I'm happy with that. And then obviously that's then going to go, we're going to butt this right up to the edge of the spine of the book here as well. Sorry about that, I've got a bit of sunlight coming through the window where I'm filming today. Right, so now we're going to put glue all on this back piece here. Okay. And put a bit more glue on this. This glue does also stick all sorts, like wood, metal, so that's why I do tend to find I like this. Now just take your time to line it up with the pencil lines that you've made. Make sure it's up to the spine. Forgive me at this stage, I'm just trying to line it up. Oop. That's it. I'm just going to lift that page. You can see there that's lined up with that part of the book. So that spine is onto this back of the board of the book here. So I can now push that down. I've got a bit of wet glue there, but if I give that a rub, that will come off. Now I've kept all my edges quite square on here, but there again, if you wanted to round your edges or use a decorative punch on the corner, that there again is entirely your preference. As I say, I'm just giving you the idea to make the book, and then you can add what you wish to it afterwards. So rub that off. That's one piece added. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the second. So I'm going to measure again, just so I can try and get it level. This is where it gets a little bit trickier when you're trying to handle everything together, but it does just worth the time, taking the time to do this. There's no easy way around it, just take your time when gluing it down. Okay, so lots of glue again here. I'm going to flip this one over. I'm going to line it up with my pencil marks. Excuse me if you can see my head, or I don't think you can actually. I'll just take it over. Just make sure it all matches on there. So just stand that up, make sure that all fits. Now if you look, your spine is shorter than your book, so don't panic because you've got gaps each end, but then as you see when we open the book out, you've got a border around it. Now because my glue is still wet, it's still sliding around a bit, so I'm just going to give it a minute just to take off before we add the spine and the outside pieces. Okay, so that's that attach to your covers, whether they be chipboard or mount board or MDF like I'm using here. So you can also see when you open the book out, you can open your pages flat, which is I think another nice thing when people are looking at a book. Okay, so I'm going to leave that just for the glue to take off. So now we're going to look at our spine. Now we're going to use the piece that measured 7 inches by 3 3/4, and we need to score this now. I'm going to put the decorative or the texture piece on the outside, so we're going to score this at 1 inch. I'll bring that down so you can see. I'm going to score that at 1 inch and 2 3/4 inches. So 1 inch and 2 3/4, and I'm going to flip it over and do it again on the other side so my paper doesn't crack. Now you're probably wondering how have I come up with that measurement. Now what I do is when I've got a book like this, pop all your spine bits down like that, and then if you measure it up like I'm standing it in here, this is coming up just over 1.5 inches. So, and then I've allowed the middle piece of my spine here to be 1 3/4, just to allow me that bit extra space on the spine itself. So that's how you get your measurements. So pop it upright like that. So if you want to do a book with less pages or more pages, this is how you do it. So you prop it up, measure it up. I'm measuring it on my, if I bring that down there, I'll measure it on my score pal there so you can see. So open up your spine so you can see the amount of pages you've got, and then just allow a little strip for each side that we're going to attach to the front and back cover. So we've now scored that, and then what I'm going to do is we're going to bend this over, just burnish that down, on each side. Okay, and then this is going to attach to the outside of the covers of the book. Okay, now I think I'm going to go ahead and use my wet glue again. It will take a little bit of time to go off, but I'm going to eat the pages then for the front and back cover, so I think I'm going to stick with my wet glue on this one. So plenty of glue, stand it up. So if you can, I don't know whether you can see there on camera. No, it's going to. So let me just bring it over like that. So it's going to go where you've got your burnished score line. That is going to go on the flat piece of your book. Okay, so that's one side done. I'm going to go ahead and do the other. I'm only gluing the 2 tabs on each side. I'm not putting any glue on the spine itself. This is where it gets a little bit trickier to do. So on this side now, so this is where you need to just pull your book open. So you're just pulling your spine open. This is what I said, it's just getting a little bit tricky now with the wet glue. So just pulling the spine open just so it can stick. So I'm going to lay that down I think now just so it can stick properly. Okay. So as I say, we're using 6x6 papers for this. I've gone through my paper collection. This was the paper collection that I've used. Just holding this while I'm talking to you because I'm trying to get this to stick at the same time. It will go off quite quickly. It's just giving it that time to go off. In here I've also got some what they call like glitter effect papers in here, and I've picked out a couple of these to use for the front and back cover, just because I thought inside I've used the very plain flat papers, and that's why I thought on the outside I use the like embossed, that's it, embossed and heavy glittered papers. So I'm just sticking this down here. Right, also in this paper collection, which is quite nice, is you get pages with all these little tags and things. So once I start adding my photographs, I can then also start putting some little tags and things on them and making some flowers out of the papers in the paper collection. So let me just put that to one side. Now I'm thinking I'm going to have this one for the front cover, and I think I'm going to have that one for the back. So what I'm going to, again, get my distress ink. I'm going to keep the same colour that I've got going all the way through the theme. I'm not doing big distressing, I'm just inking the edges. It's purely, I don't like white edges on papers and stuff when I'm doing a project, and I think by just inking the edges or using your pro markers to ink your edges, it just gives a bit more of a professional look to your papers. So if you can't invest in some ink pads, you know, go ahead and get yourself a pro marker, and you can use those at the chisel end just to ink edges of paper as well. As you can tell from this cardstock, this paper stock, it is very thick, heavy duty as well. So just go around this one, and then we can get these stuck on, and then that will be our book finished. So as I said to you, it's a very quick project, and by keeping it with 6x6 papers that we've not had to really cut up, that's made it even quicker. So just ink around those edges. Take that bit of glue off there. I always love to see how you get on with my tutorials. I get a lot of feedback on YouTube, but you can also leave comments on my Facebook page, Dawn's Inspirations, or go to the website dawnsinspirations.com and leave some feedback on your projects. You can always upload your images to what you've made onto my Facebook page as well. I'd love to see how you get on with them. So that's those. So now I need to work out which is going to be the front of my book and which is going to be the back. Which one should we have? I mean, that's another beauty of this is quite having it either way, because these papers are quite sort of either way universal, if you like, in that respect. So I think we'll go with opening it pink first. This glue still hasn't quite gone off. Hoping it would have done while I've just inked those edges, but it's not far away. So I'm going to add some glue to here. I'm wondering whether to stick that. I might stick it that way around actually, rather than downwards. I think I might have it across that way. There again, just try and line up to your centre. You're going to have a gap top and bottom, and that's where you've got your hinge, but with the cream and the green it quite nicely, I think, finishes it off. So you know, I don't think it looks out of place at all. I'm just pressing that down, so that's the front. I'll go ahead and do the back one now. Lots of glue again. The back I've just done a all over flower pattern on the back. So don't dismiss 6x6 pads when you see them from now on. Think of them in another light. Think of them as quick afternoon projects that you can do to make up some mini albums, if you like mini albums as much as I do. So just stick that down. Just giving that a good purchase on there. There we go. And that's that side. That all stuck down now. That's fine, still not quite stuck, but we're getting there. So there we go, that's our quick mini book in an afternoon. I mean, really, it's quicker than an afternoon. I mean, that's taken under 40 minutes to put that together with you here and now, and apart from linking the pages on the middle, that's taken a 40-minute project. So, and obviously I had painted those bits. So it's, as you see, it's a nice sturdy mini book. There's plenty of room for you to put embellishments and your photographs. If you're matting and layering your photographs, or you want to put some little flowers or stick pins or tags, there's plenty of room in the book there. You've got the nice front cover with the spine. You can put a little title down the spine or cut another strip of paper. The reason I've left this plain at the moment is because when you open your book, as you see, you can open your book flat, and when you open it flat, can you see it just curls in? So if I did go and add a bit more of pattern paper to it and make it stiffer, it wouldn't quite work the same. And that's why I'm just going to leave it as the cardstock spine on there. So there you go, that's a quick mini album, 6x6 mini album in an afternoon, ready just to have photographs and extra embellishments added to it. I hope it was nice and flat, very quick project. That's used not even 2.5 sheets of 12x12 cardstock, 12 sheets of 6x6 pattern paper, some glue and an ink pad, and a little bit of time, only 40 minutes. So I hope you've enjoyed the tutorial. As you can see, I've done it along with you, so at any stage you can stop and start the film and pick it up with me. But once you've made these, I think you'll be making a few of them, because they are quick and easy to do. Plus the fact, on your side, you know, you could probably put a few of those along on a bookcase together, and with the spine you could put what day out or what event it was, and they look quite nicely stood on a bookshelf. So there's my quick 6x6 mini album in no time at all. Thank you very much for watching. This is Dawn here from Dawn's Inspirations. I'd love to see your feedback or hear your feedback, and as I say, you can leave a comment below, or you can go to my website dawnsinspirations.com and leave a comment there, or you can also have a look on our Facebook page, that's dawnsinspirations.com. So thank you very much for watching, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye.